Hello, this is Japan Today, and I'm Karuna Shincho. Signs of change in East-West relations in the post-Cold War era are beginning to show in Asia as well. There have been no diplomatic relations between Japan and North Korea for the 45 years since the end of the Second World War, in spite of the fact that they are neighbors. However, now that the Cold War has ended, there is a possibility that Japan and North Korea may establish diplomatic relations. The ruling Liberal Democratic Party and the Socialist Party sent a joint delegation to North Korea late in September, where they signed a joint declaration with the North Korean Workers' Party.
The delegations had talks with President Kim Il-sung, and it was agreed that the two countries would establish friendly relations. According to the joint declaration, which was signed in Pyongyang, Japan will compensate North Korea not only for the colonial rule before and during the Second World War, but also for losses incurred by North Korea during the 45 years since the war. The delegation also promised to urge the Japanese government to initiate negotiations with North Korea. However, South Korea resisted this joint declaration, and Shin Kanemaru, the head of the LDP delegation, flew to South Korea for talks with President Roh Tae-woo. Kanemaru described how the negotiations with North Korea had gone and asked No for understanding. Meanwhile, the visit to North Korea opened the way for the release of two Japanese fishermen detained in North Korea on charges of spying. They were members of the crew of the number 18 Fujisan Maru, and they returned to Japan after being detained in North Korea for 7 years.
神戸に着きまして、神戸の港六甲山を見たとき、懐かしい、これで皆さんとお会いできると思いました。涙が出て止まりませんでした。
Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev will come to Japan in April, an indication that relations between Japan and the Soviet Union are also entering a new era.
A schedule for Gorbachev's visit was finalized when Soviet Foreign Minister Eduard Shevardnadze came to Japan early in September. He arrived on September 4th and had talks with Kaifu on September the 6th. At a meeting between the Japanese and Soviet foreign ministers, Taro Nakayama called on the Soviet Union to return all 4 islands near Hokkaido at the same time. The islands have been held by the Soviet Union since the end of the Second World War. But Shevardnadze said that settling this problem required the creation of an amicable atmosphere in which the two countries could trust each other. In Moscow, a Japan Cultural Week began on September 22nd, and the Liberal Democratic Party sent a delegation of 54 members of parliament. There was a performance of a Japanese traditional musical instrument, koto, a kind of horizontal harp, and the popular singer Saburo Kitajima, who drew much applause from his audiences. At about the same time, a group of 170 young Soviets visited Japan, another sign of the new trend in exchanges between Japan and the Soviet Union.
International opinion strongly opposed the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait, and the world is urging Iraq to withdraw its troops. However, there has been no major improvement in the situation. During a tour of 5 states of the Middle East, Prime Minister Toshiki Kaifu had talks with First Deputy Prime Minister Taha Yassin Ramadan, the number 2 leader of Iraq. Kaifu was the first Western Bloc leader to meet Ramadan. Kaifu told Ramadan that Iraq should withdraw from Kuwait unconditionally and release all foreign hostages, including Japanese nationals. Ramadan, however, maintained his previous stance, saying that Kuwait was historically Iraqi territory and that settling the problem has become more difficult since the foreign intervention. He said that the Gulf crisis should be solved by the Arabs as a package with the Palestinian problem.
To support the United Nations economic blockade of Iraq, Japan is providing $4 billion for the multinational force and countries in the Gulf region. The government has also submitted a new bill, the UN Peace Cooperation Bill, to Parliament so that Japan can send human resources to the Middle East as well.
If nothing else, this was no doubt a typhoon year as 5 hit Japan. Among these 3, typhoons number 19, 20, and 21 landed at almost the same location in the Kii Peninsula.
Typhoon number 19 was a big one, and associated fronts brought torrential rain to Shizuoka Prefecture. A small house was washed away as a river rose sharply. The typhoon also brought strong winds. A maximum wind velocity of 61 meters a second was recorded at Moroto Cape, a record of 20 years. Typhoons number 19 and 20 caused landslides in various places. Many people were buried and some died. Rising river water washed away cars. The unstable weather included tornadoes, and the damage was serious. The Tokaido Shinkansen line was disrupted in 2 places when the trackside sand collapsed. The bullet train lines are 26 years old. The incidents raised people's awareness of a new task, how to ensure the safety of the Shinkansen.
Radicals opposed to the extension of Narita Airport have been booted out of their headquarters by authorities. The radicals had been obstructing the acquisition of land needed to complete the second phase of airport construction.
Because of the growing number of planes now flying into Narita, the airport is working at full capacity. The Transport Ministry wants to construct a terminal building and 2 more runways to ease this congestion. Some of the construction is already underway, and the ministry is eager to finish it within 2 years. On August 22nd, the headquarters of Chukaku-ha, the largest hardcore group leading the radicals, was removed by force. And on October 15th, the headquarters of another radical group, Kakurokyo, was also crushed. As a result, the radicals have lost all of their headquarters in Narita. This does not mean that the acquisition of land will now be an easy task. It seems though the land problem, which has been deadlocked for some 24 years, has only entered a new phase.
One of Japan's business leaders, Chairman Ichiro Isoda of the Sumitomo Bank, has resigned to take responsibility for an allegedly unjustifiable act by a former branch manager.
The former branch manager was arrested on suspicion of violating the investment law by acting as an intermediary for huge loans to a group of stock speculators. He allegedly introduced big clients to Mitsuhiro Kotani, the president of Koshin, and to Akira Kato, a representative of the Seibi Group. Both groups are stock speculators. The former branch manager then received a commission for illegally arranging loans of 23 billion yen, or about 177 million US dollars.
Now we have reports on festivals and other happenings in Japan.
It's the autumn festival season in Shinto shrines all over Japan. At the Hachiman Shrine in Himeji in Hyogo Prefecture, the festival is called the Kenka Matsuri, which means the Fighting Festival. Elaborate Mikoshi portable shrines and floats are the stars of this festival. It originated a long time ago when 2 boats rubbed against each other to scrape off the barnacles that were growing on them. The people hit each other with bamboo sticks, and the Mikoshi collided vigorously.
In Kyushu, the so-called mystery circles in rice paddies, similar to the ones found in Britain, have been seen several times. Rice plants had been bent down at the root in 2 counterclockwise circles. This time the circle was clockwise. 5 circles were found on October the 3rd in the town of Mitagawa, also in Saga. The local people have yet to find out whether the circles were the result of natural phenomena, some kind of joke, or maybe made by an unconfirmed flying object.
These were some of the expressions heard at a shouting contest in Oita. The contestants were first offered bungo beef, a local specialty, and a grilled steak barbecue was held immediately. When they were all full of bungo beef, the contest began.
A World Oiwake concert was held in Esashi in Hokkaido. Esashi is the birthplace of the Oiwake, a traditional kind of Japanese folk song. Singers from Mongolia and South Korea were there to find out where Oiwake came from. First, Yukari Tanaka, this year's Oiwake champion, sings. This is a Mongolian folk song. South Korean folk songs were also sung.
Oiwake
若いところを見ていくと本当に似たものが積み重ねられて、そして全体として見るとやはりそれぞれの民族の特徴っていうのがあるんですね。
The instrument, a little different from others, is lithophones made of local charcoal, a specialty of Wakayama Prefecture. The local charcoal is heavy and famous for its strong heating power. It makes a metallic sound. After 3 years of hard work, it has finally become possible to use it as a real musical instrument.
Now we introduce the latest Japanese science and technology in our Trends in Japan. Thanks to developments in computer technology, it is now possible for human beings to enter the world of computer graphics and feel as if they're moving freely or grasping something in it. This technology originates from a U.S. space development project and is called virtual reality. Let's look at how this technology is being used in Japan.
A home facilities maker from Osaka has a machine by which people can actually experience an all-in-one kitchen unit, which could not be easily understood simply by looking at drawings. To enter the world of computer graphics, we have to wear special liquid crystal glasses and gloves called data gloves. The hands shown on the screens are your own hands. If you turn on the tap, water will flow out. And you can also pick up a plate and put it on a shelf. But because there isn't actually any shelf there, the plate will drop if you let it go. Now let's take a look at just how this technology works in the lab. When the user tries to grasp a stone on the TV screen, His fingers are pushed back by the data gloves. This implies that the unit can experience the sense of touch as well. If this technology could be applied to cameras, the device could feel the pressure of pushing the shutter. Research is now underway to find industrial applications for the new technology. Wearing these glasses enables the user to see a picture of a computer-drafted brain. This technology also brings doctors a step closer to realizing their dream of one day being able to treat patients while actually looking inside their bodies through a computer. Now, let's see how the user wearing gloves moves the cup into a safety area while avoiding a dangerous zone marked by white lines. The technology is expected to be used as a safety device, helping to avoid danger in factories where there are robots or cranes moving about.
The East Japan Railway Company has developed a new way of controlling trains by communication satellite and has done an experiment to see how well it works.
The company says that the new system has several advantages. First, it can replace trackside signals with simpler devices. Secondly, the trains can run at shorter intervals than at present, which means that more trains can be run and more passengers carried. The experiment was conducted on the JR Tohoku line. With this system, the train ahead sends information to the one behind via communication satellite. The train behind receives the information on a monitor screen, which is used to control the distance between the two trains. The East Japan Railway Company says it will try to find out how the system is affected by tunnels or high-rise buildings before putting it to commercial use.
A white thistle called the Fuji thistle grows on Mount Fuji, the highest mountain in Japan, and a study is now being made on using this plant to stop soil erosion. Here's more.
Mount Fuji, with its elegant cone shape, is almost synonymous with Japan. But its beauty is slowly disappearing because the harsh climate causes volcanic rock to crumble and fall in some places. It is particularly serious on the Osawa Scree. The rock and sand that slide down this slope every day has caused much damage downstream. Erosion upstream cannot be stopped with current civil engineering technology, so a Ministry Mount Fuji task force is trying a new experiment with the help of botanists. During the brief summer on Mount Fuji, alpine flowers bloom on the rocky slopes, and Fuji thistles are particularly abundant. They grow on rough ground and can survive with little moisture or nourishment. They are often called the big posts of Mount Fuji.
This plant spreads its leaves wide over the surface of the ground and it grows fast. It stores a lot of nourishment in its roots, which penetrate deep just like posts. These thistles are abundant on Mount Fuji, and this means they can restrict the movement of sand and rock.
At many spots on Mount Fuji, the thistles have a natural anti-erosion function. Professor Masuzawa points out that if an effort is made to plant thistles which grow their roots fast, erosion can be substantially controlled. It might be another 5 years before this anti-erosion effort could be put into practice, but the botanists and other workers say they are confident.
Now sports. In pro baseball, the Cebu Lions of the Pacific League emerged victorious, marking 4 consecutive wins over Central League's Tokyo Giants in the Japan series.
The Lions' driving force was Orestes Destrade, former American major leaguer from Cuba. In the first game, Destrade slammed a powerful home run into the right field stands off Giant starter Hiromi Makihara. The home run gave the Lions a leg up in the series. In the second and third games, the Lions again overwhelmed the Giants both in pitching and hitting. In the fourth face-off, Destrade scored the winning run and was named Most Valuable Player in the Japan Series.
Well, it's been a great year for myself and for the team, but mostly for the team. We got into spring training wanting to bring back the title to Cebu, and that's what we did.
Sumo, the Japanese national sport, which has several centuries of history, sees 6 Grand Sumo tournaments a year. In September, the autumn tournament went on for 15 days at the Kokugikan Sumo Arena in Ryogoku in Tokyo.
The tournament didn't start particularly glamorously because 2 Yokozuna Grand Champions, Mt.Fuji and Onokuni, were sidelined with injuries. But there was a lot of excitement on the final day as the 2 Yokozuna, Hokutomi and Asahi Fuji, fought to determine the winner, both with a 1-loss record. Hokutomi scored his 6th Grand Tournament victory, displaying the true might of a top-ranking wrestler. But there were also good bouts between younger, lower-ranked wrestlers every day, which means that the fans are already looking forward to great bouts in the next tournament. The 4 wrestlers who had been promoted to the Makuuchi Senior Division for the first time were particularly noticeable. They are Akebono from Hawaii, Wakahanada, who is the son of former Ozeki Takanohana, Takatoriki, who displays strong thrusts and slaps, and Daishoyama, a former collegiate champion. All 4 wrestlers who are making their debut in the Makuuchi Senior Division won the majority of the bouts in the 15-day tournament. This means that next time they'll be ranked among the senior Maegashira and fight with Yokozuna and Ozeki.
Japan's largest bicycle race, the Tour de Hokkaido, was held for 5 days in the middle of October. A 3-year-old Soviet boy was airlifted from Sakhalin to Sapporo without a visa in late August to receive treatment for serious burns. After several skin grafts, the boy is now recovering steadily.
Konstantin Skorapishiny was taken to the Sapporo Medical College Hospital in critical condition. He had burns on 80% of his body. It had been a week since he had been burned, and the bacteria that entered his body during that time could have caused blood poisoning. Konstantin lives in Yuzhno-Sahalinsk with his parents. He comes home muddy all the time, so his mother boiled water for his bath. On the evening of August 20th, Konstantin mistakenly sat in a bucket of boiling water.
I didn't know what had happened. My son didn't even cry. He just came to me quietly and said, "Don't scold me, Mama." His clothes were all wet.
Konstantin was taken to a nearby hospital immediately, but there was little hope of good treatment because there are no burn specialists in Sakhalin. Talina, who's a nurse, admired Japanese medicine, so she searched frantically for a Japanese and found that a Japanese businessman was staying at a nearby hotel.
She came to me in front of my hotel and asked if I were Japanese. She was trembling.
Yamanaka made a telephone call to the Hokkaido government and also asked for the cooperation of the Sakhalin authorities.
There were political problems, but I contacted Hokkaido directly without asking for approval from Moscow.
The sudden request from Sakhalin came as a big surprise to the Japanese authorities.
I was very surprised at the abrupt request. We had a heated debate about what had to be done next.
This was the first time that Soviet citizens had entered Japan without a visa.
A young official in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who has received this message really thought it was a humane problem. Within 80 or 70 hours, that life of a young child may go. And that is why he started running around and made arrangement. And simultaneously, he has taken measures or procedures to get some approval from senior officials.
The government chose a maritime safety agency YS-11 aircraft to bring Konstantin and his father to Japan. It was the first time that a Japanese aircraft had been in Sakhalin since the end of the Second World War.
これは一生に一度しかないみたいな、緊張感と喜びっていうんですか、ここに飛べれると喜びがありましたね。
The YS-11 took off only 17 hours after the telephone call from Sakhalin. Konstantin underwent his 6th skin graft in mid-October, and it will probably be the last. If such a request were to come again, what would the government do?
I think it is our position that we should react to this kind of request in a very natural, humane manner, so that our real concern about the life and humane matters would be fully realized in our actual conducts, behavior. That is our principle, and we will take that kind of position from now on.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our program Japan Today. I'm Karuna Shincho. Looking forward to see you in our next edition. Sayonara. This program has been brought to you by Fuji Film, Imaging and Information. A worldwide contractor, Hazama Gumi Corporation. Nippon Travel Agency. Enriching your life through information services, Nomura Securities. And an international group, Yaohan.